All right, hey, what's up everybody? Landon with LMR.com. In this video, we're gonna be checking out SVE's progressive rate lowering spring kit designed for the 2005 to 2014 S197 Mustang. So you're probably watching this video because you own a 2005 to 2014 Mustang and you're considering changing up the current setup that's on the car, or you possibly have a car with factory ride height and you're looking at lowering it. Well, the SVE progressive rate spring is definitely a really good consideration due to its all-purpose or kind of all-around thought process whenever we went out to build this spring. To us, it's going to lower the vehicle just the right amount. If you were to categorize this spring, I would categorize this as a moderate drop, kind of the happy medium. You have springs that drop it just a little bit. You'll have like the SVE springs that drop it just the right amount. And then you'll have the springs that really lower the car. So if you're going for that moderate drop, this is the spring you want. This is a progressive rate spring. Well, Landon, what does that mean? Progressive rate spring means that the rate changes as the spring is compressed, okay? As the spring is compressed, the rate will get progressively more firm. Speaking of those rates, the front spring will have a rate range of 175 to 235 pounds per inch, and then the rear spring will have a rate range of 115 to 215 pounds per inch. As far as drop amounts are concerned, we list that on the product page. I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole of that here in the video. Definitely go check that out because the year range, the trim level, the engine option, all that is going to justify how much this spring lowers your car. These springs are manufactured in the USA by a really good spring manufacturer to our specifications, and then they are finished in a very good looking silver metallic powder coat. All right, so what you're gonna get in the box will be 2 front springs and 2 rear springs. The easiest way to tell them apart will be to look at the part number. You'll see main part number followed by a -F for the front spring, and then you'll see the main part number followed by a -R for the rear spring. The other way to tell them apart will be the physical size. Front spring is a lot wider in diameter, a little bit shorter, and then the rear spring is a lot narrower in diameter and just a little bit longer than the front spring. As far as orientation goes, the front spring will get situated so that the tighter wound coil, or where the diameter starts to narrow, will be the top. And then the orientation for the rear spring will be that the tighter grouping of coils will get positioned toward the top or the body of the car. These springs are designed to fit 2005 to 2014 S197 Mustangs. If you have a convertible S197 Mustang, it's in your best interest to get a lowering spring kit that is specifically designed for convertibles due to the weight of the convertible top and mechanism over the rear axle. If you want to know how to install these springs, we do have a video on that, and we'll leave a link to it in the video description. And probably the most important thing before we forget, make sure you get your car lined after you install the SVE lowering springs. All right, so a few other parts to consider when lowering your S197 Mustang. First will be caster camber plates. Caster camber plates allow for additional adjustment of caster and camber over your factory suspension components. When lowering an S197 Mustang, at times the factory setup may not be able to properly dial in your alignment. The added adjustability of a caster camber plate, you'll be able to achieve this. Another option will be a camber bolt if that's the route you want to go. Me personally, I like the caster camber plates just because of how easy they are to adjust over a camber bolt. Sticking to the front of the car will be a bump steer kit. A bump steer kit is going to properly correct steering geometry. When you lower the car, that geometry changes and that exaggerates bump steer. So when you're going down the road, you go over a bump, the car kind of steers itself. You'll see some side-to-side or additional side-to-side movement in your steering wheel, and a bump steer kit is going to correct this. It will replace the outer tie rod and allow you the ability to dial in that steering geometry. Moving on, shocks and struts. When lowering your car, it's probably a great time to consider a new shock and strut. We offer several here on the site, so kind of scroll through the category, see which shock and strut best fits your expectations, and pull the trigger. While we're on the topic of shocks and struts, a little tech tip for you if you were unaware of this. 2005 through 2010, and then 2011 through 2014, front shocks had a different strut shaft. So when you're shopping for components, make sure you're matching up those components to that particular front shock. So being that the S197 cars utilize a 3-link suspension, there's a panhard bar. Whenever you lower the car, that's going to shift the rear end over. You're going to need to purchase an adjustable panhard bar to get that rear end back within center line of the vehicle. There are no exceptions. When lowering the car, you have to purchase an adjustable panhard bar. And then lastly, a good little accessory to throw in there, depending on the age of the vehicle, will be brand new spring isolators. And the car that you're seeing here in the video, this is the 2013 Candy Red GT called Candy Crush. We've had this car a while. We take it to several HPDE events with these particular lowering springs, and it does absolutely phenomenal. The wheel and tire setup for this particular car is a square setup, 19 by 10 on all four corners, SVE MHP1 wheels with a 285/35/19 Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tire. For those of you, for reference, we did take some measurements from the center of the wheel or the center of the center cap to the bottom edge of the fender, and for this particular car, the front measurement was 14 1/4 inch, and the rear measurement was 15 inches. Keep in mind that individual results will vary and that these measurements were for reference purposes only. If you want to take your car outside, go measure it just to see where it would sit with these SVE springs, you have some measurements to go off of. Whatever you do, just make sure the car's on level ground. All right, so that's going to wrap this one up. If you find value in what we're doing, please consider liking the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Until we see the next one, for all things 2005 to 2014 S197 Mustangs, keep it right here with the Real Enthusiasts, LMR.com.